Hi everyone, and welcome back to Sketch Lab for Kids. Today we're going to be creating a super cute Scratch Art Cactus. So I have this circle tool, and you've seen me use it in my other videos. I'm basically using the height of this tool to create the height of the pot. I'm going to go about 3 fingers from the edge of my paper on the left and right hand side. If you don't have one of these tools, you could just use the width of your hand, turn your hand sideways, and line up the bottom part of your hand with the bottom edge of the paper, and it'll be about the same height. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to make sure that my cactus fills up my paper. So I'm drawing big. We're going to go ahead and, like I said, we're drawing with basic shapes today. So I'm just going to use the edge of this tool to draw a line to finish off this rectangle for the lip of the pot. I'm going to make 2 marks down here. Now these marks here, you'll notice it's inwards just a little bit, and it's 1 pencil width from the bottom edge of the paper. I'm actually doing this art lesson for my Scroll Art fundraiser, and as you know, you have to draw big. You have to fill up that square of your paper. And now we're going to use the ruler to draw a nice clean line down. I'm actually doing this with my firsties, and they're killing it. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do a little heart shape on our little planter. We're going to create the width of the top of this cactus now. So we're going to make 2 marks at the top. We're going to be creating a rainbow that's going to start on that mark on the left, end on the mark on the right. And it's going to be about 1 pencil width from the top of our paper, or 1 finger width. I'm going to make a mark right there. So that's the mark I'm shooting for. I'm going to start drawing my line up. Now I'm going to start to curve it to where it hits that mark. And then I'm going to now curve that line to the right. I'm going to end on my mark. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and begin the arm of the cactus. So it's going to look like a letter J. So we have this line that curves to the right. And then at the top, I'm going to curve a line up. And then I'm going to finish it off with a little letter J. So a fun fact is some cacti take 75 years to grow these arms, and they store extra water, which help the plant produce flowers and fruit. You'll notice we didn't add a flower onto our character, but we could have. You could always add one on. Obviously eyelashes. There's some details we could add here in a minute. We're going to go ahead and add another arm, which could also be called a branch. So this one here is a line that curves left. And now I'm just going to draw another line, a smaller line that curves left. So I'm going to use my circle template. You can see there's 3 rows here. I got a small row, a medium row, and a large row. I'm going to use the largest circle off the medium row. And if you don't have one of these circle templates, if you want a perfectly drawn circle, you could use like a bottle cap off a water bottle. And I'm going to use this circle tool also to add these 2 white dots inside of the eyes. So we're doing this kawaii style. So kawaii style, they are known for having 2 white dots. These are little highlights inside of the eye. And this is a characteristic of Japanese cartoon and comics. It adds to its cuteness. So this guy's going to have really big eyes, and he's going to have a little mouth. So I can even use this circle tool to draw half of a circle. And if you haven't checked out my other Scratch Art videos, I actually use the circle tool to do polka dots with Scratch Art. Okay, it's time for Sharpie. So you can, I want you to notice this, how I fill in the eye with the Sharpie. So I'm going to start off with this circle here. Then I'm going to outline the two smaller circles. And now we're going to go ahead and fill in the space around those circles. And these expressions are so important for these kawaii style characters. You can see we have a really cute cactus right now. And as I said before, if you want, you could add eyelashes for your character. Maybe you could add a little flower on its head. So our featured artist today, Noosh, he's actually a woodcut artist. So woodcut is a type of printmaking similar to like a rubber stamp. So the raised surface gets the ink and the lowered surface does not. And it's a subtractive method. So the artist actually carves the wood with tools, and he actually will go in and paint his stamps, his wooden stamps. And then his reveal, he'll actually roll the black ink over that raised layer and it reveals it. It's very satisfying to watch. And I actually came across, I think I was getting on some of his stuff on my feed on Facebook, and that's where I saw Noosh, and he just created these really awesome, satisfying videos. So as an art teacher, I was like, man, I would love to create something inspired by Noosh. And so Scratch Art is very similar to doing woodcut printmaking because it's a subtractive method. So a woodcut artist removes wood, right? They create a raised surface that receives the ink, which is basically the outline of the artwork. And in Scratch Art, we also remove the top layer of paint to reveal usually a color underneath. So today we're actually going to be turning this cactus into Scratch Art paper. We're going to create our own Scratch Art paper, and we're going to put down a base color with oil pastels. And then over the top of the oil pastel, we're going to put tempera paint over the top, except it's going to be Kwik Stix. This is much less messier to do. You can do it right on your counter at home with your parents' permission. So this is the coloring rule thirds. So when we put down our colors today, we're actually going to be using value. Value is the lightness or darkness of a color. And did you know that colors have value? So for our cactus, it's going to have dark green, light green, and yellow. Those are going to be the three colors that I'm going to be pulling out here. So we're going to be creating three values: blue, green, and yellow, dark, medium, and light colors. And we're going to say that the light source, the sun, is coming from the right hand side. So when you use color as value, you have to determine where is your light source. So if our light source is on the right, then the darker shadow should be on the left. Instead of going 1/3 across, we're just going to go ahead and simplify this and just go halfway across the cactus. So I just drew a line there. Now when you're putting down these oil pastels, I want you to look at this. You see all these white spots? Yeah, the Kwik Stix, it's going to stick to that white paper and it's not going to scratch off. Remember, it will scratch off of the oil pastel. The paint stick will stick to the white paper. Also too, look at my craftsmanship. You don't want to blast outside of your shapes today. And you can see we're taking our time coloring around our eyes as well. And usually when I color, I tend to go in one direction. So our craftsmanship skill, number 1, which is the lowest level of craftsmanship, is someone is blasting, right, scribbling outside of the lines, and it basically looks like the artist needs to slow down and take their time. Okay, so now that we've filled in half of our cactus with the dark green, now I'm going to switch to the yellow green. And this yellow green here, I'm going to go almost all the way to the edge of the cactus. I'm going to leave a little bit of room there for the yellow. The yellow is going to be like sunlight shining on our little guy's face. Now if you want a color mix, you could actually do some little bit of color mixing here. So if you go side to side with your oil pastel, so if you go halfway over this dark green and go side to side, you'll actually be mixing the dark green into your yellow green. So here's a little bit of color mixing right here that I'm doing. And once again, we're just taking our time, making sure that we don't leave any white spots. Here I'm doing a little bit of color mixing, going back and forth, side to side, and that's actually mixing the colors. So oil pastels are paint sticks. So when they make oil pastels, it's actually paint. They squeeze the water out of it. But they don't squeeze all the water out. They squeeze out enough to where it becomes more of a solid paint like this. And then they roll it up into basically a paint stick. And now this is the yellow, our third value. When artists use value, they add depth and dimension to their artwork, and it appears to be three-dimensional. So even though we just used some shapes today, when we color with value, it's going to make our shapes appear to be more three-dimensional. Okay, we're going to do the right arm of the cactus. So I'm going to go about 1/3 across with the dark green, making my little letter J. I'm going to fill that in. And then with the yellow green, which is the medium value, I'm going to go 2/3 across. Once again, I'm just going to make my letter J and start filling that in. And I'm doing a little bit of color mixing. So I wanted to show you guys how to create shading using 3 values today. If we did not use value, the other option is we could have created a pattern. But I really love how this turns out here, as you can see in our example on the left-hand corner. So when we scratch art, we're going to see this beautiful value we've created, this dark to light with green. So this is the darker value. This is going to be on the left-hand side. So if the light is on the right, the darker side is going to be on the left. Taking our time, making sure we don't leave any white spots, and also make sure we're coloring inside of the lines. Now I'm going to go in with that yellow green. And go with a little bit of yellow. So now I'm going to go in and grab some pink. So in this set here, there is a red violet and then a pink. So I want the pink out of the set. I'm going to go ahead and fill in the tongue, and we're also going to go ahead and fill in the heart. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and grab out the darkest orange, which is the red orange, and now the lightest orange, the yellow orange. And then my third value, I have yellow. So coloring with 3 values, guys. And once again, we're going to keep this simple. We'll just go red, orange halfway across. See, I'm taking my time, making sure I'm coloring inside of my lines. Making sure I fill in those white spots. I hope you guys love these neon oil pastels. Look how bright and colorful they are. And they go down so smooth onto the paper. And now I'm going to leave a little bit of space for the yellow. So you can draw a line down with your yellow orange, and now we're going to go ahead and fill in this area. And if you want, you could go side to side a little bit over that red orange to do some color mixing. And that's called an overlaying technique, because you're going over the first color and you're going side to side with your brush strokes. And you can see it makes a orange. So we have red, orange, orange to yellow, orange. And then with that little bit on the edge here, we're going to have some yellow. And look at that, guys. Look how 3D this character looks. So even though we're drawing some simple shapes, when you color using 3 values, you make your artwork look 3-dimensional. You can do this with crayons. You can do this with paint. I'm actually going to show you how to do it with watercolor today as well. So this is the Kwik Stix. You can see it works like a glue stick. You twist it up. You don't want to twist it up too high. And then when you're done, you got to twist it back down and then put the cap back on it. Otherwise they dry out, which is no bueno. We don't want to have our Kwik Stix dry out. So once again, you're going to take your time, and I just want you to fill in this first part of the cactus, the body of the cactus. And the reason for that is because the Kwik Stix work best when they're still wet. Once they start to dry, they kind of peel off a little bit more like a film. And so when you scratch, you can scratch with a little bit, with a little bit less detail, and sometimes it removes a little bit more than you want. And you can see we just got to go really slow. So Kwik Stix are awesome, but we're basically painting with a glue stick. So especially around edges, it can be very difficult and tough to do. Take your time. You don't want to blast over this cute expression. So I'm right on the edge of this little Kwik Stix when I do my edges. So a Kwik Stix is a tempera paint stick that dries in 90 seconds. So when we're talking about mess-free scratch art, usually you'd have to paint with acrylic paint and do usually a couple layers, add soap into it. There's a whole process to creating scratch art paper. This makes it so easy to do. Anybody can do it. You just need to get yourself some Kwik Stix and some oil pastels. So this scratch stick has 2 sides. One has kind of a chisel tip side. And then I have this dotting tool. This dotting tool is really cool. It's just like a toothpick, right? But the edge of this is, it never dulls. And it will not scratch actually through the paper. So I really have a lot of fun using these dotting tools to scratch art. But I'm going to show you something cool here with this other wood stylus that I have. So this wood stylus, like I said, is going to have two sides to it today. One's a chisel tip, and one is just like the edge of a toothpick. And we're going to use the chisel tip side. So if you look at our example, we have some variation of some thicker lines, and that actually kind of creates a bit of a pattern onto our cactus. So I'm going to use the chisel tip side, and look at this. Thicker lines. So now we have some variation of our line width, also known as line weight. Isn't this satisfying, guys? This is so fun to do. And look at those cool, beautiful colors underneath. And you can see our value. You can see we're scratching off. We see kind of more of that blue or green on the left, and we're starting to see that yellow on the right. Okay, once you're done scratch arting the body of the cactus, let's go ahead and fill in these arms with the Kwik Stix. Once again, let's take our time. We don't want to blast over the edge. And I'm just going to go ahead and do both arms. So you could start off creating the thinner lines first. So this is the letter J. I'm just using repetition of line, doing these lines that curve to the right. And now I'm going to do these lines here that curve to the left on the other side. You can see our little kawaii style cactus is starting to come to life. Creates this really fun texture and pattern. Now here's the chisel tip side. So I'm going to switch it over to the chisel tip side of my wooden stylus. And creating these thicker lines. So remember we talked about subtractive method of creating art. So we're removing that top layer of paint, revealing the beautiful colors from our neon oil pastels underneath. Wow, that is so cool. Now remember, close your glue stick. So you twist it back down, close it. That way it's ready for the next time you want to use it. Got to take care of your art supplies. Now, this is a brown Kwik Stix, and we're going to use this on the pot. And you can see I'm only going to go across maybe 1/3. This is going to create a shadow. And I'm going to color around the heart because I want the heart to stay really bright and colorful. We're just going to use brown, but if I wanted to, I could have gotten a red Kwik Stix and gone over the left side of the heart and scratched that too with the red. Okay, so these are going to be horizontal lines. So earlier we're doing vertical lines. In the arms we had lines that curved right, lines that curved left. Now we have horizontal lines. And you can see the more you scratch, the more you reveal the color underneath. And this is called linear shading. And this is something that the artist Noosh does. Noosh is really known for doing linear shading because he's a woodcut artist. And as you know, the top surface basically creates the outline of the character. And this is the chisel tip side. I'm going to remove some more. You can see that it's making it lighter. So I actually have a little bit of a gradation of value there from darker to medium. Noosh is also known for using cross contour lines and kind of like a pumpkin, how it curves around the form. So here are our three values. We got red, orange, and yellow. So I decided to do a beautiful sunset. Now obviously there's a few options that you could do. One is I could have used Kwik Stix, and if I did, I actually would have probably used the pastel Kwik Stix. Pastel Kwik Stix are awesome, and I would have tried to pick maybe a contrasting color, which maybe the like a light pink Kwik Stix would be a really good contrasting color for this probably, because it's the opposite of green. So you can see our color gradation here is red, orange, and yellow, and making a beautiful sunset with the watercolors. Another option too is if you got a little sloppy getting out your edges, you actually could cut out the cactus and glue it onto a background paper. Well, if you loved creating scratch art with me, check out my playlist. I've got more awesome videos. I'll see you in the next one.